So thank you all for being here. We're reading in LA tonight on one leg of a tour that I'm doing with my friend Sekhukhuni. He's in town from South Africa. It's his first time on the West Coast, and this is our first reading in LA. So really excited to be here. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Yay!
You could be doing other fun things or just keeping working, I guess, because, you know, we're all doing work at all times. But I think Bohosi's going to go first because he just got here. So Bohosi was born in 1991 in Johannesburg. He describes himself as a light worker and studied at the University of Johannesburg in South Africa. He's exhibited widely in New York, Chicago, Bamako, Zurich, Paris, Los Angeles, Dakar, London, Warsaw, Cape Town, and elsewhere. He's a founding member of the tech health artist group Ntu and has worked with the CUSS Cuss Group Collective. His most recent project is a visual culture bank and research gang called Open Time Coven, which investigates emergent technologies and repressed African spiritual philosophies. Thank you, Bohosi.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Sorry for wasting y'all time or whatever.
We were just
Is this loud enough? Okay. So I'm going to read a collaged text that's around some family history that I'm doing right now. The source of most, but not all, short period comets is believed to be the Kuiper Belt, which is a belt of small astronomical bodies beyond the orbit of Neptune. Some short period comets, nevertheless, may originate from the Oort cloud. Comets whose return periods are generally known as termed periodic comets. These comets are mainly short period, but may include a few long period comets. Long period comets are more numerous and tend to be brighter than short period comets. Comets are frequently visible only during twilight because of their proximity to the sun at that time, and hence the optimum brightness of the comet. Comets, contrary to popular belief, do not shoot across the sky, but move at approximately the same speed as the planets. Comets rise and set along with the stars. Close observation of comets is required to detect their motion against the stellar background. A few very bright comets can be seen in daylight. They are unpredictable in terms of their apparent magnitude. A bright comet with a prominent tail will be evident once only every 10 years or so. Sungrazers are a family of sun-grazing comets characterized by orbits taking them extremely close to the sun at perihelion. They are believed to be fragments of one large comet that broke up several centuries ago and are named for the German astronomer Heinrich Kurtz, who first demonstrated that they were related. A Kurtz sungrazer's aphelion is about 170 AU from the sun. These sun grazers make their way from the distant outer solar system, from a patch in the sky in Canis Major, to the inner solar system, to the perihelion point near the sun, and then leave the inner solar system in their return journey. There is yet no sign of permanent peace among the native races of South Africa. We hear this morning from Durban of the death of one of the bravest of our former enemies, the chief Sekhukhuni. He, with his son and 14 followers, has been killed. Kropf referred to the Basotho, actually the northern Sotho, at Blauberg, now Bloberg, in northwest Limpopo province, who adored Mudududza, a large comet. No further details were provided regarding the identity of the comet, although the original report was dated the 19th of October, 1877. It is not impossible that the comet may have been Comet Halley in one of its previous apparitions, or perhaps the comet of 1843. The Great Comet of 1882, formerly designated C/1882R1, 1882II, was a comet that became very bright in September 1882. It was a member of the Kurtz sun grazers, a family of comets which pass within one radius of the sun's photosphere at perihelion. The comet was bright enough to be visible next to the sun in the daytime sky at its perihelion. The news carries us some years back to the time when the name of Sekhukhuni was a name of dread, first to the Dutch and then to the English colonists of the Transvaal and Natal. It was indeed to a great extent the danger caused by the neighborhood of this formidable chief that led to the annexation of the Transvaal by England. The comet appeared in the morning skies of September 1882. Reports suggest that it was first seen as early as 1 September 1882 from the Cape of Good Hope, as well as from the Gulf of Guinea. And over the next few days, many observers in the southern hemisphere reported the new comet. The first astronomer to record observations of the comet was W.H. Finlay, the chief assistant at the Royal Observatory in Cape Town, South Africa. Finlay's observation on 7 September at 1600 hours GMT was also an independent discovery, and he reported that the comet had an apparent magnitude of about 3 and a tail about 1 degree in length. A comet, Mushoshonono, was believed by the Bedi, in contrast to above sentiments, to constitute a very bad omen and predicted war. Gail and Van Wyk give Naledi Yamusil as a northern Sotho term for a comet. Bayer described comets as Naledi Tsa Misil, stars with tails, which signaled the death of a great northern Sotho chief. The comet brightened rapidly, and with days had become an exceptionally bright object. Her Majesty's astronomer at the Cape, David Gail, reported watching the comet rise a few minutes before the sun at 18 September, and described it as, quote-unquote, the nucleus was then undoubtedly single and certainly rather than over 4 inches in diameter. In fact, as I have described it, it resembled very much a star of the first magnitude seen by daylight. When war was declared against the Zulu king, operation went on simultaneously against Sekhukhuni, and early in 1879, his stronghold was attacked. Obstacles stood in the way of these operations, and when, after Ulundi, Sir Garnet Wolseley entered the Transvaal, he endeavored to humiliate the chief. The comet was rapidly approaching perihelion when it was first seen. At perihelion, the comet is estimated to have been only 300,000 miles or 480,000 kilometers from the sun's surface. Shortly after perihelion was reached on 17 September, the comet transited the sun. At the Cape, Finlay observed the comet with an aid of a neutral density filter right up until the moment of transit, when the sun's limb was boiling all about it. Finlay noted that the comet disappeared from view very suddenly, and no trace of it could be seen against the sun's surface. When war was declared against the Zulu king, operation went on simultaneously against Sekhukhuni. After its perihelion passage, the comet moved into dark skies, and although it faded as it receded from the sun, it remained one of the most prominent objects in the sky. But Sekhukhuni was safe, as he imagined, in an impregnable mountain fortress, and scornfully rejected the terms offered by the British general. It became necessary to attack him in force. A combined movement of columns containing 2,000 English and 10,000 Swazis and other native troops was planned and carried out with great skill. And on the 28th of November, 1879, the kraal was taken by assault. Still the chief and a great number of his men held the Gopi, and from the caves and cracks in the rock, they poured an incessant fire upon the assailants. In mid-October, the comet developed a notable antitail, pointing towards the sun. Antitails are a fairly common cometary phenomenon and result from orbitary geometry giving the appearance of a tail pointing towards the sun, although material can only be driven away from the sun. A comet, Moshoshonono, was believed by the Bedi to constitute a very bad omen and predicted war. At last the summit was gained, and after a desperate and sanguinary struggle, the enemy was subdued. Sekhukhuni, however, like Tsetshwayo, succeeded in escaping and was only captured a few days later. He was treated for a time as a state prisoner, and his land was settled somewhat after the Zulu manner. If, however, the death of Sekhukhuni portends anything, it means that the displaced chief in these savage and warlike regions still retains some power, and that on occasion they are able to rise successfully against him who has superseded them. Studies of the orbit of the comet showed that the Great Comet of 1882 was moving on an almost identical path to previous great comets seen in C/1843D1 and C/1880C1. These comets had also suddenly appeared in the morning sky and had passed extremely close to the sun at perihelion. One suggestion was that all three were in fact the same comet, with an orbital period that was being drastically shortened at each perihelion passage. The fragments of the Great Comet of 1882 will return in several hundred years' time, spread out over perhaps 2 or 3 sanctuaries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bohosi. Sorry, going to the bathroom. So should I stall? You're going next? Okay. You want to go second? Cool. So our next reader is Mandy Harris Williams, someone I'm a very big fan of. She's a theorist, multimedia conceptual artist, writer, educator, and internet/community academic. She's from New York City and currently lives in Los Angeles. In a nutshell, Mandy's work seeks to get everybody the love that they deserve. She graduated from Harvard, having studied the history of the African diaspora, as well as the mass incarceration crisis and other contemporary Black issues. She received her MA in urban education and worked as a classroom teacher for 7 years. She integrates a holistic didactic style into her current creative practice. Her creative work has been presented at Paula Cooper Gallery, Naval Gallery, Knockdown Center, and Women's Center for Creative Work, to name a few. She's contributed writing work to Days Magazine, Mel Magazine, For Harriet, and The Griot, and is a frequent radio and podcast guest. Follow her at Ideal Black Female on Instagram. Thank you, Mandy.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Say it back. Okay, I'm gonna read an Instagram caption, and then I'm gonna read a poem, and then I'm gonna read a last poem. 3 dispatches, so you know what to expect. Okay, here's the first one. My ideal hair look is somewhere between a hyper little Black girl who gets teased for having a short ponytail and sweaty edges, and Larissa Olenek from 10 Things I Hate About You, where she has a ponytail on the top of her head. My hair is really porous, so I can't wear it like this, but for maybe a week out of the year. Creativity is one thing, and viability is another. I've been feeling constant corporeal and value dysmorphia. I've been feeling like getting free is a trap, like a mutiny on the Atlantic is certain death. Fantasizing about social suicide. I've been feeling detached, but mourning my loss of efficacy when I had illusions of completion. Highlights and lowlights coming back to back faster. You open the windows to make the air tolerable, and then you have to deal with flies, and I'm really sleepy. That was the first one. Thank you. Okay. And here's the second one. sorry, starting over. I can barely see myself in the mirror these days. I can see only histories and bones and admixtures and matrices and histories and powers I was never meant to have over others or myself. I see choices in days gone by, marks on my face like lacking care, marks on my face like lacking love. I can only see marks of meaning, and I feel quite like a mirage sometimes. I've tried to figure out exactly where to hold the camera so that it will see myself as I do, but I don't know that the selfie can do what my eyes do. I've admired the ability to fling oneself into another time and language in so many forms, but live action seems as close as I can get to understanding. Seen from within, seen across, seen captured by photos or opinions or both. Completely different people I'll become something of all of them. The truth is strange to discern. There's so much politics in the scene. Always a cognitive and sensual dissonance to walk out from my own gaze on my own face and then into the mirror and face to face with myself. I don't see how they see you. I can't see how they see you. Love changes things, I'm reminded. When we're together, away from others, I'm so in love. Perhaps for her familiarity or her fortitude, I am reminded I am. Sometimes we have the space I need for loving after settling. After every word I've read and written, I've earned my own beauty. Alas, we are here, and it's strange to let others know. Taking on the role of lecturer, exhausting myself, and then settling back into the privilege of my black femme invisibility cloak, warmed by you, worn like a saddening superpower. I have over and over tried to understand the value of seeing each other. Love seems firm as concept, but maybe this is the action, and the synapses to seeing along particular myelin sheath. Love is behavior. Behavior is cognition. Love is cognition. That's the second one. I went to 3 apps for this reading.
What are they?
The first one was Instagram. The second one was my email.
We're about to get to the notes, aren't we?
Notes up next. Finish them off with the notes. The hot and heavy stuff. Okay, ready? Okay, me too. Only say what you can understand. Have I had such integrity? How to understand if you are lovable or pliable, or how viscous I've become. How to understand chemistry as historical fact, as neuroses, as transmogrified needs of belonging and safety. How to evaluate connection and decide on its worthiness. If there is anything real as real, or serial decision and compromise. In an attention economy, is there any value to vulnerability? Trusting my intuition is not the same thing as making my instincts into foregone conclusions. Forgive me, I am both athletic and verbose. Here are things that make boundaries sound poetic. I love how you make me feel. I love how you give good training. I love this activation. I love your laughter. Thank you for being so generous with your time. Thank you for necessary rigor, for the labor of opening. I'm embarrassed by the maudlin shorthand when I've worked with the utmost specificity in language otherwise. I hadn't used that particular declension in so long, with you making quotidian linguistic abuses thereof, but feeling capable of so much iteration. My friend Jessie assured me I will not always be condemned to love in the way that I have, like a kindergarten teacher on the first day of school, meeting a character expectation, committed to the work and filling in details and learning of deeper problems much later, seeing so much potential, so many reasons why, and very much insisting on, because justice requires, not focusing on the contrary. He reminds me that one way to love is to work overtime. Curious if I know how to be loved now, he asks me if I believe in love most conversations. love and physical risk at the very same thousands of neurons. What could go wrong? Love as a formative assessment does not mean you're not allowed success. Love as a summative assessment is a test all along. How to explain to you that I fall in love easily. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Manny. That was amazing. Our third reader is Sarah Gail. I met them 3 years ago for a reading we did on the rooftop of Smart Objects that Brandon Drew Holmes put together. That was super fun. Sarah Gail is an artist living in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just going to read poetry from my journal. There will be pauses because I will be turning the pages. I had a dream where I was like, look, but don't touch. I wanted you salivating, my pussy dripping wet, only inches away from your face, so close you can smell it. I don't think that you deserve to be with anyone after how poorly you treated me, but I also want you to want me and to not be able to have me until you understand and repent for the full scope of the things. Like, you're never gonna get it again, and I hope that makes you feel sad because I was good and I'm only getting better. I'm not going to sabotage myself or put myself in my own way of reaching my dreams. I really need to realize how irresponsible I can be and work to resist the urge to tempt myself with foolishness. There's a whole future out there I haven't fucked up yet, and I don't intend to. My happy place in my dreams smells of cedar from the 70s. Trapped in time, I go there to get away from all the emotions and people I hold in my heart, but would much rather ignore. Damn our spirits for connecting. Now I feel you and see you when I don't want to. I can't wait for the day when I don't think about you anymore, when I'm getting and doing exactly what I want. My ego tells me I'm worth my weight in diamonds, and I believe it. To those who have hurt me, how dare you? Do you know who I am? I spend time mulling over all that fucked up shit I've had to endure, and dreams of revenge dance through my mind to make them all suffer for causing me pain. Then I remember living your life as the bitch-ass motherfucker you are is punishment enough. People are either extremely turned on or offended by my body, or offended by the fact they shouldn't be turned on. Women see all they could never be, and men see all they could never have. My black body aches, so I would like to stretch. But in doing so, in trying to heal my own fucking body, someone's got something to say. Because my body shouldn't make them feel this way. What should be the fate of all those frauds who staked a claim in our poor little community, taking advantage of our need to congregate and live in a quote-unquote safe space, only to be sold as seen like a car from a suspicious used car salesman? The very shoddy exterior is covered in glitter as a queen vogues on its hood. Unfortunately, it's the same cis-hetero capitalist bullshit inside. Should these crooks be left to fend for themselves, to depend on the very people they objectified and took advantage of? In order for love to be found, it must first be lost, sought after, and prayed for. Its end is somewhat inevitable in the physical sense, but it transforms and expresses itself in different ways. Like the winter, things have to die for there to be growth. So yes, the home I once housed my love in has burned to the ground in order to make room for a new home with a stronger foundation. I crave connection, the sliding of two hearts like tongues dancing around each other. I like to recall the memories of you that make my pussy wet, but the vibrations from the impact of the slap that was heard around the world still find me from time to time, right before I seem to have caught my breath. Every night, when I close my eyes, I travel through space and time, slipping notes under doors for someone to pick up later, and getting some of my own along the way. The rent was due yesterday, and the good doctor never seems to be too good to me. But the other day, I read a book, and I'm feeling better about things. There's like 2 more. Nope. Thinking about where I'm at now, how far I've come, what to tell my therapist, what not to tell my therapist. Am I doing a good job? How am I defining myself? Why am I judging myself? Always comparing the present to the past. Last night, in a dream, I got my revenge. As dramatic and violent as it was, I was shocked and felt unfulfilled in the end. I guess my idea of revenge would be spreading the truth. I wanted to be as public and as earnest my love for them once was. I want them to wear it on their shoulders wherever they go, until anyone that ever knew about us knows what really went down and the pain I endured and have grown from. I always tell myself what goes around comes around, and that's the truth. And that the truth will eventually come out in one way or another, but that could be years down the line, and I shouldn't wait to be avenged to get over it, to find and hold on to some peace, even if justice has not been served. Okay, this is my last poem, or last couple poems. Pain comes and stays in my body like never before. Stomping around, trying to shake away the negative energy around me has begun to take a toll on my thighs. Death. The sweet release. One of my favorite aspects of being dead is that you don't have to do shit anymore. Gotta definitely make sure that happens in the afterlife. How does one stand up for themselves when love and all that shit is involved? Like, they have a list of all of your buttons because they created some of them. Maybe if I put on my serious pants and my serious hat, I will speak and come off as sounding serious. I rehearse the words I think a serious person would say. I sit in the corner of the boxing ring on a stool with a towel around my neck. I stand behind myself and massage my metaphorical shoulders, telling myself that not only can I stand up and fight for myself, but that it's a good thing that I'm doing. Thank you. Woo!
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you all for sticking around. I'm going to read now. This is called Song Cry. I'm watching raindrops race on the window. Imagine nostalgia for something you never knew. Imagine the way rain smells like spit. Imagine a room where everything looks like one system, like skin. Imagine that room is another country. Sometimes I look at people crying and think of stars. There should be plushies of brick walls. It feels like I can only express emotions by exaggerating them. Are spatial metaphors at the root of all misunderstandings? At least we have disappointments growing like birds will in the future from seeds. It's called Untitled, and then in parentheses, The Wire. This is a little high for me, sorry. Student debt subsidizes tax cuts for billionaires. Inflating a piece of mozzarella with a garlic air is basically witchcraft. I don't believe in myself. I believe in the anarcho-syndicalist collective. Felt my iPhone 6 bend in my pocket, realized it was just a Pop-Tart. This is not an iPhone, don't worry, it's fine. Don't care for me. Dangers everywhere and suffering seems like God. In the club, like, making you happy is a nectar that many forget in pursuit of regret. Ocarina of Time is the Wire of video games. I cannot fucking believe this was the book that made me feminist. I won't say which. I miss who I thought you were. As usual, cannibalism is trending. My annotations are beautiful in this ink. I don't approve of women being turned into grapes. Should I buy hella little things with this white lady's money? Definitely. Powerful and apocalyptic pug security guard, protect me now, please. He did not. The words rolled down his face and fell like a squirming bug at his feet. That poor pug. This is not my handwriting, it's Carl Jung's. I feel it in my bones. Without you, my world falls to dark pieces. Not that I don't want that, if that's what you want. This is called Klangfarben Melody. Clock that measures the opposite of time, ancient pixel built from half a breath, the seed of a perfect moon. Numbers don't lie because they can't tell the truth, the kindling space between a choice and its airless shadow. A polite noumenon guides my dismay with the grace of email for doves, originating in silence like all eternal things. Joy-struck demon of rain, the abuelas at the bus stop look like potatoes in cellophane. The milk of their laughter, Anaisa's mirror is her palm, a plangent yellow, bones of song, tracing lines of flight. This is called Untitled, and then in parentheses, Petty. It's for my dear, dear friend, Redeem Petaway, an artist out of Florida. Being lipless, no white person has ever truly kissed. Sorry. We call this the hours of dust. Keep trying, though. What does it matter how many lovers you have if none of them gives you the universe? My pet girl is working on her novel. It's called Yeoman Eschaton. We need to go back to the days when we filmed internet content with potatoes. Manic pixie dream cuck, simply vaping in Christendom. Plot twist, all media is social. Impossibility of private language. Wages should be waged. Block me, my sweet dove. If Cheeto was a patriot, he would sacrifice his life to Christ. It will be tragic for them when they realize they are not holy. One of my god sisters is named Jetty. Goals, dick-shaped like the spiral jetty. Shouts out Robert Smithson. Abuela was right when she told me the computer had demons in it. Give up looking for what haunts. My sevens have mustaches now, all growed up, but a foregone ghost of pettiness remained. These nuts is the refutation of inherence. A flogged and desecrated hurt in clog body. Trout mask original. My first tattoo will be the entire B-movie script in a font that fits on a grain of rice's surface area. I still haven't gotten it. En el espejo espero ver mi enfermedad, pero solamente veo a Cantinflas. Forced to live authentically. Sometimes I do want to live, but I remember that we're already dead and this world is hell. My grandma died, so I'm really sad. Sorry. Yeah. These poems are usually a lot funnier than this. No, they're not. Tell your family members you love them. Or not. Do whatever you want, but. Okay. I'm going to read some longer stuff that I wrote in April. Yeah. This is called Poetry Press Release for Unrealized Art Exhibition, likely titled The Last Air Dancer. Air dancers are those things that go like this to like sell stuff outside of used car lots. Michel Foucault definitely loved glory holes. His bathroom stall scribbles were always illegible. One part of governance is erotics, the erotics of boredom and anxiety. Nobody but me wants negative critique at their art opening. How you fog up the mirror just to finger your name onto it. This lube only works on social justice warriors. Your sneakers light up when you're racist. The constant light guides you. So Europe can continue, here in its tendrils, where you stole nothing, not even nothing. You can't even imagine giving it back. Nihilists don't realize it doesn't matter that nothing matters. But I have an empathy gap toward white people. And under gender coloniality, the state itself is latched onto the genital. Everything subsumed into holes and pricks, this American pornographic Victorianism, like those Gustinish-Lee Lozano tool paintings. Kill yourself, Descartes. Closing your eyes is not the beginning of theory. Some say everyone dreams of fucking the dictator. In reality, sex is completely illegal. The only way to say I love you is with minions, and sneeze fetishes, and fisting in Berlin on a Tuesday. That's their fisting night. A lie is not only a lie. Trump's micropenis does not absolve me. This performative divestment is escapism. Something's wrong with my phone and it keeps scrolling back up to the old page. Sorry. This is perfect. Sorry. The only way they say I love you is with fisting and sneeze fetishes and minions and fisting in Berlin on a Tuesday, right? A lie is not only a lie. This is ridiculous, sorry. Yeah, I can't do it. The end. I'll read some shorter ones, I guess, because I don't have my phone for now. I got this new, like, front thing for it, and it just has been going kind of crazy, I guess. But, this is called Mangulina. Mangulina is a Dominican dance style. Puckered moon trades its craw for an ocean plum. There's rebirth and an image of rebirth. The soul of that woman at the bus stop is from the crow we buried in my backyard. Like the grave, the scene of writing is a quiet place. Let a soul takes flight as it tongues the crux. The rain sounds like typing. The voice in my head has your accent. Half unfelt gesture, half ungestured feeling. Rampart of sighs. The network stands in for the utterance. The air itself is an archive. The song is the bird. In a sense, a film is most perfect before anyone sees it. It's called Untitled, and then in parentheses, context. Licking leaves, falling on rain, touching myself to moon and moss, imagining her handwriting, snorting wet boogers down my throat, eating fruit for 3 days to make my cum sweeter. Hate reading philosophy. Let the voices, door behind the door. Something seems lost or given. Precision blister, favorite notebook, ocean headphones, pain a staircase, or swollen atom. Context, space or process. I'm selling this little book. If you want to buy it, probably not, but who cares? I'm broke, please buy it. I'm not good at marketing myself. This is called Times No Doctor. The air split the world in a new and richer condemnation. The last time we spoke, we saw voices trapped in a falling tooth, a river that couldn't bend. Two versions of a stone church forsaking the blood, the faraway names. Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny, synchrony recapitulates diachrony. Context is a material, lack of context too. Christ rebirthing his dead mother, reverse pietà. A tongue nailed to the wall could be more generative than anxiety. This is called obsequies. Backlit, unsafe, never meeting, misty figment, older passport, numb, number C. To peek through radiant logo, put screwdrivers inside, boil them until they finally fit in thimbles. The wind weeps like the rapture of a refrigerated volcano, ad-laced fragments of memory. In your eyes, the reflection of a god unlearning her past. By now, there are strange shadows that move, where once lonely footsteps performed the dance that cried for heaven. Let's try this again. Maybe it was just going crazy. Because I want to finish with this poem that I always read this poem, so it's like washed as fuck by now, but fuck it. It's called If I Could Vote, I'd Vote for Cardi B. This was written in April 14th for an event called In Advance of Orange. Our Lady of those bags full of other bags my mom always keeps under the sink back home. Help me be patient with the cave mayonnaise, that's white people. The demon in my inner ear tells me that a lack of hell is robotic. She reminds me to celebrate the Titanic today. That's what you get for taunting God and masturbating with fancy sauce. Guilt is the fantasy I anchor myself with, a sanctuary of displaced landfills. This is ridiculous. Sorry. As European labor cognitivized, so too did alienation. Being white and Western means being alienated from how violent and wasteful your existence is. You faintly hear from far away some manageries about agile social workflow engagement rate application methodologies. Think of it as a claim to desublimation. In other words, white women tossed aside the wages for housework picket signs, entered the workforce, and hired black and brown women to do domestic labor for almost nothing. That old American way, animal white infant suckling a dark nipple, cooing for the absent referent, a cuckold encased in amber. Jesus Christ, sorry. A cuckold encased in amber. Yes, finally, you tell me to say yes to the poison, to lean into this, oh my God. to pursue this lean in poetics by any means necessary. Apparently not shaving is only feminist if you have a white pussy. Fuck that. I mean, it's chill you identify as an animal, but get back to me when you often got called a monkey growing up. Forgive me if it seems like I'm humoring you. I know now to treat white people like pets. The trick is to put a Starbucks in the gulag. Love Starbucks. As MF Doom says, living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. When you're stolen, you're stolen. All your affect is carceral. We all see the blood of slaves and natives on these walls. All the undocumented maids in the country couldn't clean it. Not my mom, not my grandma, not me. So you treat self-actualization as a branding exercise, bad faith as a trick of the light, hoping you don't see that same charred face you see every night, like Spinoza in his study, hoping the world is an idea in God's mind. By the way, how are we going to live without phallic metaphors for violence? Dunno, rehab is always an option. Concepts are the dream of the citizen. In your glee, you get deputized as a monster. In your glee, you get deputized as a monster. All reverse empaths are fascists. Thank you. We're done, so you don't gotta go home, but you actually can stay here too. Never mind.